Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Fill us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. Over 1/3 shows watched. CommunityPolicingCamps24.org. Jewish Chicago will be coming out like really, really soon for the start of early voting. And if you're watching this thing on the air, you better give me a holler right now, either via phone or email, if you want to participate in Jewish Chicago, because our deadline is upon you. And I get so many calls from frustrated people who call me too late to be involved, but life's life. It is a pleasure to not introduce you to. She's been on the show a number of times in the past, over the years. The Republican candidate for clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Diane Shapiro. Diane, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And how's the campaign going?
I'm having a great time meeting a lot of people. Been all over the city, all over the county. My God, Cook County is huge. It's 1,000 square miles, and I appreciate the help of a lot of different people that have been of assistance. And I've gotten some really great endorsements. I was just endorsed last week by the Chicago Police Sergeants.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm very honored by that. It's the first time I've ever been endorsed by them, the Chicago Police Detectives Union, and a number of other law enforcement organizations and a couple of civic and community organizations that have recommended or endorsed. I'm not going to go into an entire list. That'll be yet to come because I'm still accumulating them. Because without endorsements, it's virtually impossible to get my name out there. I'm really hoping for a couple of military endorsements because it's so important to me to hire from the military community. And it's also the law. And when I worked in the courts, it was seldom that I would run into a military veteran. And I remember, I think we've discussed this, when I first went to work for Cook County in 1976, the application said that preference would be given to military veterans. During my 33 years of service, I met maybe 3 or 4 military veterans, which I thought was unfortunate because these are the people that deserve the jobs. They served our country, and we should at least be serving them by giving them a job to thank them, because without a strong military, any nation is doomed. Strong borders are important. Nobody's going to attack you if you're the biggest, meanest kid on the block. But they'll try and bully you if they perceive you as a weakling. So that's why I love our military, our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, all of the above, and I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. But I am really hoping for the military support and law enforcement support because these are my community. These are people, these are where I've worked. Now, I'm not a military veteran, but I support military, I support law enforcement. Say what you want about the police. Who are you going to call in case of a riot? The local crackhead? That's not going to happen. You need law enforcement. To have peace, you need peace officers. To have safe communities, you have to have some kind of law enforcement. Or you couldn't even leave your house. Burglars would come. And look what has been happening in neighborhoods where the police have been less than supported by the community. They're falling apart. And our murder rate is skyrocketing. And we have the toughest gun laws in the nation.
Well, yeah, but you know what? The trouble is that the gun laws, no matter how strong or weak your gun laws are, they always apply to bad guys. And actually, like bad guy, you're not supposed to commit those kind of crimes. It's ridiculous. It's I had a police officer tell me that, when you talk about, as I mentioned the point, in the 70s, I think late 60s too, there were years 1,000 people got murdered, and you're not talking as many this time around. He said, chalk that up to modern medicine. Because if modern medicine wasn't so good, the toll with 3,000 shootings and the way people are shot, the toll would be much higher right now.
Well, which brings us back to the courts and the prosecution of these gun cases. Community leaders need to stand up and say, we're tired of the violence in our neighborhoods, and work with the police to bring down the violence. Instead of saying, F the police and things like that, they should be saying, thank you, Blue, for being in our communities. Because we would have complete chaos and disorder without you.
Well, people don't even begin to realize, how difficult it is. And, I guess one of the best quotes I heard lately is, the only people who run toward gunfire are the police. You think about that. If virtually any citizen heard a gun going off, they're going to hit the ground, they're going to run the other way, they're not going in the direction of the danger. And, I don't have to tell you, I know officers that were shot next block to me, rather, on the 6700 block of Fairfield. It's named the Sergeant Philip O'Reilly, honorary street name, and his widow was head of the Gold Star family. She lives on that block. 575 police officers in Chicago since the beginning of the city have been killed in action, not to mention how many were disabled, or you look like a guy like Jim Mullen. And
I know.
Supporting police is important.
My girlfriend Davina's uncle was killed November 13th, 1969. His name was Frank G. Rappaport. He's on the wall, and his star is down at police headquarters. We have to have people in office who understand that it's about public service. The Chicago police serve the public. We pay their salaries the same way as we pay our elected public officials to serve a job, to serve their duty. When they've betrayed their oaths of office and they have ceased being ethical, honorable public servants, we elected them, and it is our duty as citizens to unelect them. I strongly believe in term limits. I think it's an idea long past due, and we have circulated petitions for it, which were thrown out of court 3 years ago. And we're going to continue pushing for it. There's no reason why we should have dynasties, people in office for years and years and years on end, that have done nothing to improve our lives, our communities.
Well, they're actually rigging the system in such a way that'll perpetuate themselves.
Yes, and it's time that we went to the ballot box and staged a revolution. Aren't we tired of all of the waste, corruption? And I'm sorry, aren't we tired of making a joke of living in Chicago? Oh, when I die, I want to be buried in Chicago so I can keep on voting even after I'm dead. We've talked about this. We should be ashamed. We should all be working in unison. Change our leaders so we can move boldly into the future and rid ourselves of career kleptocrats, career corruptocrats, people that are not in public service to serve the public, but rather to serve themselves. And it seems to me like it's a complete Stockholm syndrome to keep voting for the same people all of the time. I would like to make a difference in the courts and serve all communities. Every representative in Cook County needs to be served. And it's important that we remember that we're a city of communities. We're a city of neighborhoods. I love being from Chicago. You can go for any kind of food you want any time of the week. Greek, Italian, soul food, you name it. Because we're a city of communities, and I want to be the unifier. I want to pull all of our communities together and be the kind of elected public official that will not only bring back pride and dignity to the courts, but also honor every ethnic group in Cook County, serve everybody equally, and I'll even get a chance to use several of my languages. We need to have public servants who understand public service, and I would be more than happy to give back my 33 years of public service to the taxpayers of Cook County. Okay. You deserve it. Thank you.
How people want to contact your campaign?
Diane Shapiro for Circuit Court Clerk on Facebook, citizensfordianeshapiro.com. You can find me on Facebook, you can find me on the internet, and you can find me in the phone book.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you, Sonny. Goodbye, everybody.